Lexie, whether it's diving on the floor, tipping balls out for rebounds, all of the little things that you do to impact this game, how do you describe the desire in you right now?
I mean, we want to win. We want to keep playing. We want another game in Vegas, so that's what we're fighting for. We don't want our season.
The Indiana Fever, missing 6 players, including Caitlin Clark, just delivered the Las Vegas Aces their harshest playoff reality check yet. And Lexie Hull made sure the message was loud and clear. Aaliyah, Boston, locked in on defense, putting MVP A'ja Wilson in tough spots all night. Kelsey Mitchell couldn't be stopped, and the supporting cast rose to the occasion. The locker room? Nothing but pure celebration. So, how did this squad, the one everyone counted out except diehard Fever fans, push the defending champs to a win or go home Game 5 with the finals on the line? And what Lexie Hull revealed about Kelsey Mitchell shows exactly why this team refuses to quit. Drop a comment saying, "I've got the Fever," if you're riding with Indiana. Let's go.
Got the momentum right now. You can close it out and force that Game 5. What are the most important things here in the fourth quarter?
Keeping them off the free throw line, knocking down shots, and just sticking to our scout. I think we've done a pretty good job of that so far, but just keep it going for 10 more minutes.
What happens when the whole world counts you out? The experts on ESPN wrote them off. The odds makers crowned Las Vegas as the lock. Even the 2-time defending champions acted like they had nothing to fear. But the Indiana Fever, battling through the postseason with 6 players sidelined, including Caitlin Clark, refused to break. This wasn't just another playoff matchup. This was a fight for survival with their entire season hanging by a thread.
You've been in a back against the wall situation just the last round where you had to win 2 games in a row. Just what's the mindset kind of going into this game?
No, I mean, it's desperation. And it's not a reckless desperation. It's just a desperation in terms of the urgency that you have to play with. We have been in these situations. We've been in lots of different situations throughout the course of the season. And our players understand what we have to do. We have to leave it all out on the floor.
Heading into Game 4, the picture couldn't have looked more lopsided. The 6th-seeded Fever trailed in the series, half their roster stuck on the bench in street clothes, and they were staring down a fully loaded Aces squad stacked with championships, accolades, and confidence to spare. Outside of Indiana, nobody thought this matchup would even be competitive. This was supposed to be Las Vegas's night to close the door. Instead, Gainbridge Fieldhouse turned into the stage for one of the grittiest, most determined victories the Fever have ever pulled off.
As a way of getting your game pick. Do they do it again today and end this thing? 3, 2, 1.
Yes!
That's not an answer. 3, 2, 1.
The Fever haven't lost back-to-back games, right?
The Fever have never lost consecutive games at home in the postseason. And one other thing, let's show Steph White very quickly. Our incredible researcher, Jenny, went through the tape and found that when Steph White wears her red leather jacket, I do believe we have some video of that, they are undefeated. A perfect 4-0. Does that change your mind at all? Is that your pick?
Yeah. Let's just go with it.
You're going Fever?
No, I'm not. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I can't. Drea, make a pick. You haven't done it.
I'm struggling.
Make a pick.
I don't know. I'll tell you what.
Do it now. Do it now.
I'm going to go with the Aces. Okay, we'll decide.
The obstacles went far beyond injuries. A veteran presence walked out mid-season, leaving for Phoenix. Add constant battles with officiating, the sense that the whistle was always tilted against them, and the Fever had every reason to throw in the towel, but they refused. By the time Game 4 tipped off, this was their 3rd straight elimination game of the playoffs. Twice before they'd faced the edge of the cliff, twice before they'd fought their way back. So, how do you survive a 3rd? By playing like a team that simply refuses to believe their story's over.
Can't even lie, after last game, I thought the Fever were done. I didn't know if they had any more fight in them. They looked tired, they looked kind of beat up. And somehow they come out today in their Stranger Things jerseys, which by the way, I think have magical powers. They come out in their Stranger Things jerseys and beat the Aces. And they beat the Aces even with A'ja scoring 31 points, I believe it was. Playing so much more efficiently than last game. And somehow they come out and win this game with their backs against the wall, win or go home game, and force a Game 5 against the Aces.
Indiana knew they couldn't afford mistakes. They had to value every possession, lock in defensively, and trust their rhythm on offense. Most of all, they had to meet Vegas punch for punch in energy. By halftime, the script had flipped. The Fever dictated the pace, smothered the Aces with disciplined defense, and turned every Vegas slip-up into fuel. Then came the breaking point. Aces coach Becky Hammond called a timeout she didn't have, drawing a costly technical. That single moment swung momentum, exposing exactly who was playing loose and fearless, and who was starting to feel the weight of the season closing in.
Now they're going back to Vegas, but at this point in time, how do you ever How do you ever bet against the Fever? They've had 18 players play on this team this year because of all of the injuries that they have. And they have hardship contract players that they signed a month ago who are starting for them. Like, it's just kind of, it's really just wild at this point. I don't even know how to predict Game 5. They could really pull it off. Could you imagine they go to the finals? I mean, I guess stranger things have happened.
This victory had nothing to do with luck. It was earned through grit, poise, and an unshakable belief that refused to die, even when no one outside their locker room believed. With the win, Indiana didn't just force the series forward. They moved within one step of their first WNBA Finals appearance in 10 years. And along the way, it was the players themselves who turned into the heartbeat of a story nobody saw coming.
We're down! Bow, bow, bow!
Yes, sir!
Dub.
Big dub. Job's not done yet. Job's not done yet.
Dubs in the chat. Back to Sin City.
One more. We can do it.
I'm not giving.
One more.
How does a team with only 9 healthy players look like the deepest roster on the court? That's exactly what Indiana showed in Game 4. Leading the charge was Kelsey Mitchell. She dropped 25 points, buried clutch shots, and sealed the win at the free throw line as Gainbridge Fieldhouse shook with chants of MVP. For someone once overlooked, hearing an arena scream her name felt like a crown ready to be placed. And while we'll get to what Lexie Hull had to say about Mitchell in a moment, one thing was clear. Even though Mitchell played with the fire of a true leader, she wasn't carrying this fight alone.
Hull getting back to Young. Young, 3 to shoot, bounces. Lloyd gets swallowed up by Boston.
Aaliyah Boston delivered a defensive clinic against reigning MVP A'ja Wilson. Yes, Wilson still finished with 31, but every bucket came with Boston standing firm as a wall in the paint, making her fight for every inch. And Boston didn't stop there. On offense, she powered her way to 24 points, pulled down 14 rebounds, and handed out 5 assists, proving she was dominating both ends of the floor.
Coming off the on ball, getting her feet set.
2-point game, Boston center of the lane, finishes plus the foul.
That meant A'ja Wilson couldn't just worry about putting up points. She had to battle Aaliyah Boston on every single possession. One analyst even praised Boston's performance as tremendous, highlighting how she set strong screens, sealed defenders, finished inside, and still anchored the rim on defense. It was the kind of two-way dominance Indiana hasn't witnessed since the days of Tamika Catchings.
Give a shout out to Lexie Hull. Lexie Hustle. Let's call her that. Because Lexie Hull is battling through a bad back in this game, still diving on the floor. She's given it her all season long. And when you look at the core of the Fever, obviously there's the stars. There's Caitlin Clark, there's Kelsey Mitchell, there is Aaliyah Boston. But another member of that core is Lexie Hull, who is indispensable for the things she brings, which is defensive energy, intensity, battling for loose balls, hitting those open threes in key moments, and suiting up with that bad back, with the Indiana infirmary already on the sideline.
And then there was Lexie Hull. On paper, she wasn't even expected to log heavy minutes, still nursing a back injury after being body slammed by A'ja Wilson earlier in the series. But instead of holding her back, it fueled her. Hull became the defensive motor, hounding Jackie Young, swiping 4 steals, and pulling down 7 rebounds. She even chipped in 7 clutch points of her own, but it was the intangibles that shifted everything. Diving on the floor, pushing through pain, and setting a standard of toughness the entire team fed off. Suddenly, Indiana's defense felt unbreakable.
In fewer games, as Hull knocks it away, and it stays in bounds.
That's the second time that Hull has saved the layup with her weak side help defense.
Shea Petty in off the bench. Stephanie White liked the way she battled in Game 3. Boston gives it up. Mitchell with Wilson switched on her. Now Young gets back. Hull connects. On a 3.
Perhaps the biggest surprise came from Odyssey Sims. After a frustrating Game 3, where nothing seemed to fall, many questioned whether she could make an impact. But in Game 4, she erupted, scoring 18 points on 6 of 9 shooting, even drilling her lone three-pointer. Her relentless drives sliced through the Aces' defense, forcing collapses that created open looks for Mitchell and Boston. It was the textbook definition of a bounce-back game, the kind of redemption moment every playoff run needs.
Yeah, Odyssey, obviously you were 0-for-7 on Friday. Just what did you do in these 2 days to kind of have a kind of bounce back, or what mindset were you coming into this game?
Just leave that game where it is. It's the past. Focus on today. Just didn't change my mindset. Didn't change anything besides just being more aggressive, making sure we got to beat the ball. I mean, nobody can stop her down there. Loved her aggression today. Want to carry it over on Tuesday, keep it going so we can get to the finals.
In the background, Tiffany Mitchell quietly delivered exactly what her team needed. 7 points, 2 steals, and a steadying presence that felt like oxygen in the middle of chaos. When the offense stalled and nerves began to creep in, she slowed the pace, surveyed the floor, and brought control back to the moment. That's the value of a veteran. They don't need flashy numbers. They provide calm when everything around them threatens to spiral.
You're slipped to 6. Think that would change if they redrafted? Here's Petty all the way in off the steal. Shea Petty giving in.
Every player on the Fever turned doubt into fuel. Together, they proved something bigger than stats. That "we over me," Aaliyah Boston's mantra, wasn't just a slogan, it was the formula for trading blows with the defending champs. Indiana didn't simply survive, they went toe-to-toe with Vegas' stars, answered every scoring run, and forced the Aces to feel a kind of doubt they haven't tasted in years. Boston, Hull, Sims, and Petty all had their moments, but the spotlight ultimately circled back to one player, Kelsey Mitchell, the steady force who carried Indiana through every storm.
10 on the shot clock, 1:05 to go in the game. Mitchell snakes around a Boston screen, at the left elbow, leaner, and one, Kelsey Mitchell! And back pedals to the left corner, crosses up Gustafson. Up and under, banks it in! Odyssey Sims in her bag, and it's 75-69 Fever. Go for the Fever, feeds inside, Boston with Wilson on her, and one! AB would not be denied against the MVP and Defensive Player of the Year.
What did Lexie Hull say about her longest tenured teammate that left Fever fans emotional? To understand that, you have to look at the journey of Kelsey Mitchell. She spent 8 seasons in Indiana, most of them marked by heartbreak. Losing records stacked up, rosters never seemed to click, and the franchise drifted further from its glory days, at one point sinking to just 5 wins in a season. Still, Mitchell never left. She carried the losses, shouldered the pressure of being the go-to scorer when defenses swarmed her, and bore personal pain off the court, losing her father earlier this year. For many players, that weight would have broken their spirit. For Kelsey Mitchell, it sparked a different kind of fire.
Mitchell dances, takes, and connects with Lloyd coming in. Backdoor, Mitchell lays it in on a beautiful delivery from Boston, plus the foul.
And her ability to contest.
Mitchell burying the 3. Here's Mitchell. Mitchell able to hit.
Of it.
Mitchell stops and hits. End this thing today. Mitchell splits the D.
This season, Indiana couldn't afford to let her fade into the background. With 6 teammates sidelined, including Caitlin Clark, every possession seemed to funnel through her hands. Some nights the shots fell, other nights they didn't, but one thing never wavered: her presence. She was the player who refused to see the rebuild as wasted years. Instead, she stayed steady, carrying a fan base that had nearly forgotten what winning felt like.
I'm Boston. Mitchell flings it out. Sims. You bet.
Ball in the post. Asia Wilson wants space.
Boston, gorgeous delivery. Inbound Wilson strip. It's loose. Guess who? Lexie Hull again. Here's Mitchell parading ahead for the finish.
So, when Game 4 turned into yet another win-or-go-home battle, the stage felt made for her. In the closing minutes, she took command at the top of the key, called for a screen, and buried mid-range jumpers with machine-like precision. Every drive put Vegas deeper into foul trouble. Every cut bent their defense out of shape. And then came the defining moment. At the free throw line against the 2-time defending champs, with Gainbridge Fieldhouse shaking from MVP chants, she stayed composed, sank the shots, and jogged back on defense as if it were routine. That calm under fire was the stamp of a true leader.
Mitchell got them both. 3 seconds left. Break gets blocked, and that will do it. Remarkably, there will be a winner-take-all Game 5 Tuesday night in Las Vegas.
Aaliyah Boston often says, "We over me," and this Fever team truly lives by it. But even within that mindset, Boston admitted that nights like this prove why Kelsey Mitchell's role is different. She's the spark everyone feeds on, the reminder that all those years of losing weren't wasted. And then came Lexie Hull, Mitchell's teammate through the toughest seasons. After this win, she finally voiced what fans had been feeling all along. Kelsey deserves her flowers. It resonated because it was true. Mitchell isn't just having a big moment. She's the face of survival, the reason Indiana is still standing heading into Game 5. Now, she's just one game away from the history she's been chasing her entire career.
First and foremost, just an extreme amount of pride for her. You know, she has been through a lot. With this franchise. And the second thing is just, pride in her work and how much work she's put in to position herself to be in this moment. She loves this game. She just wants to play. And I'm incredibly proud of her. I'm thankful that our fans continue to recognize her greatness. And I'm thankful that she decided to come back and join us. Certainly because I have watched Kelsey from afar and have wanted to coach her for such a long time and have enjoyed, every opportunity that I've.
Game 5, win or go home. The Fever just lit up Gainbridge Fieldhouse, but now the stage shifts to Las Vegas, where the Michelob Ultra Arena will decide who punches their ticket to the finals. It's the kind of environment that swallows road teams whole. The Aces fans know how to turn noise into a weapon, and Indiana will have to stare right into that storm with their season on the line. For the Fever, the stakes couldn't be higher. One victory stands between them and their first finals appearance in a decade. A drought long enough to define an entire franchise. Think about it. The last time Indiana played for a title, most of today's roster was still in college, some even in high school. This isn't just about taking down the MVP. It's about rewriting who the Fever are. But Vegas won't make it easy. Aja Wilson just became the fastest player in league history to hit 1,000 playoff points, and nobody doubts she'll come out swinging. Expect her to set the tone early, attacking Aaliyah Boston and the Fever front court, trying to pile up fouls before Indiana can find their rhythm.
The biggest thing for us is again, like we've been through everything. So being in these types of situations isn't new to us. It's when we've been at our best, and we've got to continue to be. This group really just rallies around one another. The desperation and the urgency that we play with when we're in those positions has been exactly what we need, and we've just got to bottle that up and take it with us. I mean, it's a one-game season right now, and we got to carry it all over.
Game 4 revealed the blueprint for Indiana's success. Aaliyah Boston dominated the interior with 24 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 assists, forcing Aja Wilson into a battle where every possession carried weight. Boston made her work on both ends, and that shifted the duel into Indiana's hands. Then came Kelsey Mitchell, the closer. She poured in 25 points and iced the game at the free throw line. Add Odyssey Sims slicing through the lane for 18, and Lexie Hull crashing the boards for 7 rebounds while snagging 4 steals against Jackie Young, and suddenly, the Fever had the formula to break Vegas inside their own house. Now it all comes down to Game 5 and the matchup. Boston versus Wilson is another war in the trenches. Mitchell's ability to cut through traps and handle Vegas's pressure will decide if Indiana keeps its rhythm or stalls. Hull's health lingers as a question mark, but her defensive minutes chasing Young could be just as valuable as any bucket she scores. If she can hold her ground without wearing down, that small edge could swing the possessions that decide everything.
One game away from the finals. Where you came from, in August when people were going down with injuries. I mean, how do you wrap your head around that, knowing that there's still work to be done?
Yeah, honestly, for me, all the credit has to go to God. Seriously, I mean, just thinking about where we are right now, just like you said, we lost people to injuries, and no one stepped down, no one dropped their heads. But I think Steph and the entire staff just did a great job of us telling us, like, listen, it doesn't matter who's in this locker room, it's about who's in here, and we're going to do everything we can to be successful, and we just kept working.
For Las Vegas, everything hinges on adjustments. Becky Hammond's costly mistake in Game 4, calling a timeout they didn't have, showed just how shaken the Aces became when the pressure hit. Back on their home floor, expect them to settle in. Expect Aja Wilson to get fed possession after possession. Expect Jackie Young to hunt her shot. And if Chelsea Gray is healthy, expect her to step in as the steadying playmaker that brings rhythm back to their offense. The Aces aren't strangers to elimination, but they aren't comfortable with it either. Meanwhile, Indiana's path doesn't change. Defend without fouling, slow the tempo, put trust in Kelsey Mitchell when it matters most. That formula has carried them to a perfect 3-0 record in elimination games this postseason. Coach Stephanie White said it best: the urgency and desperation we play with in those moments is exactly what we need. That's who this Fever team has become. Vegas leans on pride, Indiana leans on resilience. And now one more night of belief could push the Fever into the finals, proof that every struggle of the past decade built to this moment. Whether they walk into Mandalay Bay and silence the champs or fall just short, one truth is already clear. This run has redefined what Indiana Fever basketball is supposed to be.
And I think for me, this from day one has just been a really special group. We've hit a lot of adversity collectively. I had some tough stuff that I was going through personally, and this group would just rallied around me, rally around each other, and truly do live the mantra of we over me. And it's just been a really, really special group. You don't always get these opportunities to coach groups like this, at the professional level especially. And I think because they're who they are as human beings, it allows us to continue to put one foot in front of the other.
The Indiana Fever now stand just one victory away from their first finals trip in 10 years. After a season filled with setbacks and a postseason defined by survival, they've turned every challenge into fuel. And now it all comes down to Tuesday night in Las Vegas. The question is simple: can the team everyone once dismissed walk into Vegas and take down the defending champs on their own floor? This is the moment for Fever fans to rise up and rally. No matter the outcome, the future is brighter than ever. Caitlin Clark will return, the roster is growing stronger, and Indiana is building a foundation that could shape the next era of the WNBA. If you believe in this team, drop a "I've got the Fever" in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss what's next. Click the video on screen. We'll see you there.